You are watching the Fayetteville Government Channel. Up next, full coverage of the latest meeting of the Telecommunications Board. The Telecommunications Board is composed of citizen volunteers and meets on the third Thursday of each month. This board advises the City Council regarding telecommunications issues and assists city staff with the administration of the city's public access, education, and government television channels. And now, the Telecommunications Board.
2013 meeting of the Fayetteville Telecommunications Board to order. First up is roll call. Pennington's here. Mr. Smith? Here. Mr. Shepard? Here. Goggins sent me a note and said that he was out of town on business. Mr. Spencer, same. Mr. Spearman? Here. Mr. Eric? Here. Also with us is Lindsley Smith on behalf of the city and Dan Robinson on behalf of your media. Next, we'll move into approval of the minutes from April 2013. Entertain any motions?
I make a motion we approve.
Second?
Second.
On motion by Mr. Eric and second by Mr. Smith. All those in favor of approving the minutes, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. The ayes have it. And we'll move into approval of tonight's agenda. Is there anything that need to be added, discussion, or anything anybody had? Not? Is there a motion to approve? Is there a second?
Second.
On motion by Mr. Spearman and second by Mr. Eric to approve tonight's agenda. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. The ayes have it. Move into reports. First up is the Television Center Government Channel report from Ms. Lindsley Smith.
All right, pretty straight up. You have received with the packet the various numbers that Mr. Giesler put together. And I will start off by saying the reason he is not here tonight for our viewing audience, and which you know, is his daughter is graduating, so he's at the graduation, and so I am substituting for this evening. You have the numbers, but also for the viewing audience, I'll just go through these. In terms of, we split it up into YouTube and Granicus. Our Granicus is our system linked directly in with our accessfayetteville.org website. And estimated minutes watched, looking at YouTube, well, I think these are both together. 3,215 minutes overall. Today in America, still the top in terms of the YouTube videos, followed by Lake Fayetteville. Be a trail trekker is still quite popular, and I will say we got a press release out because there was another trail trekker volunteer meeting recruitment, which we do like every quarter. So having those, we're doing press releases in ways that and I put the press releases out for the city, so I've been working, if we have a YouTube video from the government channel, then I'll work to embed that in the press release, which I think helps in terms of people clicking on them. The city sponsored the 50th anniversary of Dr. Martin Luther King, and so that's exciting that it's as high as 469. That particular video that the government channel did of a reading that included 20 members. One of the members, Steve Smith, represented the Northwest Arkansas Labor Council there, but also this board, as one of the readers. And so we had, we're from, the mayor, a representative from the fire department, a representative from the school district, a representative from Arts Live Theater. So it's really exciting. It was the 50th anniversary of Martin Luther King Jr.'s letter from the Birmingham jail, and the Birmingham Library had sponsored that. And so we covered that, and actually it's getting a worldwide audience on that one. And so it's nice having, and the Public Library of Birmingham, Alabama has posted this on their website, and so people are going to that, and then they're getting to the government channel through a lot of different channels around the world, which is exciting. Bike to Work Week Challenge, that's been a real popular one. Doug has, Bankston's put that one together. He was praised the other day at a wellness meeting of staff, faculty, where they showed that, and they were talking about the benefits of biking to work and the benefits of exercise and everything as educators, and it was really great because the city staff then applauded after they saw that particular piece. So that was really exciting to see in that meeting. I think that made him feel, as well appreciated for that. Driving Roundabout, that's been getting great coverage. Mayor's Corner, then Skull Creek Trail, then Mud Creek Trail, and then Green Your Life Bicycles, which was done a while back, and so it's still getting that viewing. So as long as we can get those YouTube videos out there and in the hands of different organizations too that want to help fulfill the educational purpose of those, I think the better. In terms of Granicus, we largely have city meetings. You also have reports on those ranging from 605 particular views. So we still have a good interest in people watching City of Fayetteville meetings. And, those tend to go with whatever the issue might be popular for that particular time period. But active transportation advisory committees are topped them all. And that was above the city council meeting. It likely could be because they're looking at changing the committee makeup and the responsibilities and the authority, pretty much what Telecommunication Board looked at in terms of where are we now after technology changes, et cetera. They're looking at it in terms of we might not just do sidewalks and streets anymore. How about light rail? How about this and that? And so they're looking at it in a new modern age. And then you can see the others. Then there's the Pension Fire Relief Board. City Council meeting for April 16th, then the Parks and Recreation Advisory Board. That one, I'm surprised actually it didn't have more viewership, but it pulled out a lot of people being present in the room. And that big issue that people have been looking at and following would be the Technical Garden Master Plan and then the trail that runs next to that. And then the March 9th City Council meeting, agenda session, Fireman's Pension Relief Board, and then Telecommunication Board. I had to get to that one. So you're still in the 1, 2, 4, 5.
We're
Still
in
in the top 10 from all the committees that we do there.
If I was sitting at home and I was watching the Telecommunications Board, it was a stormy night, tornado watch or tornado warning came on, would that warning blip across the bottom of the screen? Do you see what I'm saying? Like if I was watching CNN or if I was watching Weather Channel, a notification? Because I would get my Fayetteville email that would come from the city. Do you know, would it scroll across the bottom, hey, Fayetteville's in the midst of a tornado warning?
Yes, and I have to say, it could depend. And
Okay.
I know that sounds really
No.
odd, but the way we have it set up now, we are looking at the city hiring, and there's a request for proposals that's gone out or it is going out for a company to do it. Right now, we work on our existing staff and existing where it is right now. So if Don Marr gets it in time, if it hits at like 3 in the morning, and Don gets it to get that message to Fritz, and it just depends on when it's going to hit, because you really have to get the information to Fritz so that it can get on the television
So
aspect.
Cox doesn't automatically do it. It's comes from each station has to do it.
Yeah.
So as long as the storm happens between 9 and 5.
Yeah.
Okay. But you see what, like even just yesterday, the 100 people, injured, not a lot of warning, because you wonder about those things as far as notification, because you may hear the siren, you may immediately turn on. Well, my inclination would either be to do Weather Channel or a city station, and because I would think, the city, emergency preparedness, they tell me.
Yeah.
So I just, out of pure curiosity, I didn't know if we had that capability, because it may be something.
Yeah, we have the capability, and a lot of it's, we're still putting it up there.
Right.
We're still dealing with issues, and I'm glad you asked about that. Because that's one complaint. Working in the mayor's office, I hear various complaints about various things and various praises about various things. And we do have a professor at the university who has contacted at least 3 times. This has been over the past, I think, month and a half. I think I mentioned this perhaps to Aubrey a while back. But as he called the city, and he was very concerned that when Cox has been having their emergency alerts up on Cox's channels, all of them, they'll have the emergency alert, and then it would be totally blank, and there would be nothing there. And he says that's not the emergency thing. There wasn't anything the city of Fayetteville could do, but I had put him in contact with who he should to notify, and also put them in contact with Kelly Zaga at Cox, so they would know. They said at first it was an engineering problem. Now, of course, then he wrote back in about 2 weeks and said it was happening again, and then it was happening again. The county has also purchased a county system. A lot of the cities are looking at or have received, some of them using Code Red. The city of Fayetteville was going to use one, but they just decided to put it out because it's over $20,000 to put it out for bid. That system, if we get it, still would not transfer to television. I mean, one of the things we've been dealing with, and I contacted Fritz about this, actually, when Steve and I, we would, we'll watch the government channel, we'll watch public access television, watch the education channel and some other access channels. And we've got some other issues that would be going on as well that we need to watch on any other channel except Access Channel, where you're in Springdale or wherever you are. The Access channels were as if somebody like left the building. They're so shaky, they're so off, and it's clearly dealing with Cox at the time. So can't even see the channel, let alone get to that point where we have the emergency ones. So we have been able, yes, to put them up. And you definitely when they fit within that major time period. We have been, since we're, a city and we have employees that leave on Friday, what happens when it is hitting at like 4 o'clock in the morning on a Sunday,
And it may be something as simple as anticipated weather. Where if there's a forecast, a high likelihood as opposed to 20%, but maybe there's a 90% chance of storms or severe storms, to have scrolling across the bottom, increased chance of severe weather, and then give a source that someone could go to. Now, I realize everybody, lots of people have smartphones nowadays, and I know that lots of people, but it's more that the city cares. Something, that's where I'm kind of going, is that we've thought ahead. We know that this could be a resource. Here is a resource. Turn to channel 12. Monitor closely. Use one of the local stations for up-to-date information.
And it's the NOAA units can really help with that too. And you want the accuracy. Now we do that with all of our message boards. And so when you come in, you'll see on the message boards we're able to do that. So I'll check with Fritz and see if there's something with Cox and with AT&T and how that works. A lot of people that do go to, I don't know, some of us going online or other places, but that's always something we grapple with. How do you alert a community? So I think that's a great idea. So we can check, I'll check with them to see if it's a financial thing or if it's, because I think we did for a little while. Okay.
There have been 2 or 3 nights that came on by email to us.
Yes,
Right.
yeah, if you sign up for it.
It's great.
Yeah.
It's great. It's great.
Other than complaints about the sorry quality of Cox's transmission, have there been any other complaints about the government?
Usually it's just with, and a lot of it is with Cox, in terms of payment plans. I'll hear that. It's nothing that we can do anything about. It's totally a private issue, and I'll talk to the person and everything. But it's, I have to buy 20 programs when I only want 1. So why am I paying all this? And then I have to get all this, and the next thing you know, I have to bundle, and I have to do all this, and it ends up being I just get cable for $160 a month. I just want my 1 show. But I can't get one show without getting all the rest. I mean, there's a lot of those types of arguments. Or AT&T's tends to be not building out fast enough, or somewhere along those lines. This week I did receive just information from someone, which was how do we get Google Fiber to Fayetteville. So, and then I essentially responded, just did the research on that, and the answer was in 2010, the city of Fayetteville put together a really great application. I was hoping that we'd win for the competition to be the pilot city for Google Fiber. And we did not get that, and I do believe it was St. Louis. Tyron, you might. Okay.
Kansas City.
Kansas City.
Yeah.
Kansas City. It was Kansas City that ended up winning it. She was asking about Google Fiber, how we get it here. And essentially, it's a private company decision. They have something online where the public can go to, and they can click on and say, we want it here. But honestly, it looks like, from what I can tell, if they're going to spend millions of dollars in a place, they want to know that people are going to go there and then buy that. So there are people who are looking for other alternatives, and it looks like there are other companies that are coming in. But as you know, in the last legislative session, our power as a city, even though we fought it, has been limited even further.
Has
So
Cox,
thank you. But a lot of it is just, it's the quality, it's the high payments, and I like that. And then, putting, access channels up into the atmosphere.
yeah, has Cox given any indication what it's going to do with the new legislation?
No. In fact, it was really hard to get them to return a call, the lobbyists, during the session. So
Okay.
we'd really like to know.
Okay.
Yeah, we would like to know, when we asked them beforehand, if you plan on doing that, please let us, anything like this, please let us know ahead of time. So, it's really, we need to track that. So
It may or may not.
I expect that one day we will receive, because the statute says it, that we have to receive a notice that they filed for their piece of paper.
Mhm.
So we'll, you have a lot of things, one thing, the city of Fayetteville, I think, has the greatest obligation in the state of Arkansas, and I think it stretches out nationally, and I'll just go ahead and say that, is trying to defend the rights of the people, as much as possible. And that's what we were doing there. How do you protect as much as possible the voice of the people, particularly when they voted away for themselves so often as well. So, but that's what we do. That's what Telecom Board does.
Anything else? All right. Thanks, Lindsay. We'll move on to,
May-
sorry.
No question. I see the new brochures.
Yes, I'll be covering that.
Yeah, we'll move on to
Okay.
Dan for
I
the,
do have one more part
Oh, I'm
of
sorry.
I was just answering questions, but my final point would be, we do have 3 terms that are expiring on the committee. I think Fritz let you know that the city clerk has sent those out. So the terms for the clerk's office for the hit are Spencer, Goggins, and Shepherd. So those are up. People will be applying. And in fact, I meant to double check before I came here to see how the telecom is set up. 'Cause I know you've been on it for a while, and I wanted to check to see if you could even run again.
All of '08, all of '09.
Yes, I think you might be.
Whatever.
Yeah,
are there term limits?
I need to double check on that.
Well, I hope so.
Yeah.
I've got a
Yeah.
limit on this one.
Yeah, always making his way around on them. But those are up, and again, I'm sorry, I meant to double check to see, because some of the committees actually do have that. I thought Telecom had that before. I think it's up to a certain number of terms, and some have, but just to let them know they're running again, or must live in the city. And if they're not interested, if you know people who are, so be good to let them know. Thank you.
Okay, thanks. We'll move on to public access report. Mr. Robinson.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be sharing with you all this evening about Fayetteville Public Access Television. I wanted to take a moment before I got started in Mr. Eastler's absence to say that now having been in this position for 6 months, that I cannot express highly enough how much I feel like Mr. Giesler is an asset to our community and to the television center, working with his guidance and leadership and his attention to detail, his ability to see the black and white, but then also totally take into consideration the gray of humanity, but then lay out the black and white for you so that we make sure that we are absolutely following the things that we are supposed to. It is very comforting to be in a position where he is leading in that fashion. So I just wanted to say that without him here so that he wouldn't blush and stuff. This 6 months for me has been possible thanks to his amazing leadership and support. And his vision about open, transparent government, I feel passionate about. I feel like it's a really amazing thing that he is pioneering. And then our shared passion for Fayetteville Public Access Television is very exciting. And his vision and leadership for how we would carry this into the future is also very encouraging, as he and I are constantly talking about ways where we can keep it current and cutting edge and on the front side of the very changing media atmosphere. So I just wanted to say that before I got started. April was a great month at the Television Center. We were coming off of a wonderful first quarter, and I believe we've hit our stride. I feel like we have hit a point now where we're seeing a pretty consistent number of class participants and producers that has been definitely on the increase for the last 6 months. And I feel like we're hitting a point now where, I'm not going to call it a ceiling, but it's definitely a point where I feel like we're in a comfortable stride. And if we wanted to exceed that, we would, in fact, have to get proactive in new ways, which we would be very excited to do. But starting off on page 1, you notice that class participants were around 14 a month. Seems to be that stride that I feel like we've gotten to. And if you look at the top chart, you notice that compared to last year, that is significantly greater than we had previously, as well as the class participations is a real indicator of the fact that we're offering more classes. The classes are easier to understand. Word of mouth is really getting out that the resources are easy to utilize, and we're seeing lots of people come in the door as a result. So, as we're looking at the 3 by ward, you notice that participants, candidate producers, and then program requesters are in a very, I would say, comfortable number, indicating that people are definitely utilizing the resources. On page 2, when it comes to the training, we're very excited in that at this point we have taken students all the way through every one of our current classes. The intro classes obviously had a lot of influx in the first quarter, but the advanced courses do require more of an investment as far as time, and so we have had candidates who have come through those programs now successfully, and as a result, especially when it comes to our advanced studio class, which was a required twice-a-week, 6-week course, that is quite a time investment for someone who is entering this on an introductory sort of level. So I worked with JR and we worked with Mr. Giesler to develop a different way to make that a little more accessible, both for people who are brand new to the television studio and for people who had been trained previously and needed to have their training re-upped. So what we developed was a 2-weekend course where they're able to come in 2 sequential Saturdays for longer stints and be able to get the information covered so that in 2 weeks rather than 6, we have them available. So we will be offering the 6-week course because it really does go in depth, and if someone would like that available, that would be great. But then we will also be waiting for anytime a class of, we optimally like a class of 4. If we can have a class of 3, we can do it, but because of what the Television Center requires, it requires a minimum of 3 people to operate. So when we have 3 people make for a class, then we will be able to initiate a 2-week abridged course for people who would not be able to make the 6-week commitment. So once again, we're just, anything we can do to get people using the resources, we are happy to facilitate. So that was an encouraging aspect of the training this month. When it comes to certification activity, on page 3, you can see that, once again, we're, especially when you look at the year-to-date numbers, as far as certified producers, candidate producers, and outside producers, we are ahead of the game as far as from last year. But especially in the candidate producers, we're very excited to see so many people coming through and getting the basic skills necessary to have a media production at their disposal. So that was very exciting. As far as production activity goes, we've had our steady stream of short takes for participants, which we are very appreciative for, and I actually spoke to the farmers market today about getting booth space, and they were very excited at the prospect of us having us up there. Initially just for information, but when I explained to her that we wanted to bring a camera and interview people at the farmers market, she was very excited about that. So I was informed that you get a spot once and then you kind of wait for another spot, but it seemed to me that they were very interested in having a presence from Fayetteville Public Access Television. Is there a question? Okay. With the equipment utilization, I'm happy to report, I was, as you recall, during the first quarter, I reported essentially a slump in editing bay use. And on the chart you see on page 4, the encouraging news is that we have had an increase in editing bay use. So I do believe that as we are seeing more students come through, despite the fact that it is very accessible for them at home, they do take advantage of the resources that are available at the television center as well, which is how I would say we really measure success by having the resources utilized by the people who would be able to take advantage of them. So then as far as feedback and complaints go, we had no complaints in April, which was wonderful. Another exciting thing to report is we did have a nice little influx of internal programming as well. Last month in particular, we saw things slanting more towards outside programs, and once again, as a result of our influx of more users, we are seeing more internal programming, which we really are excited about. That's where we hope to see really the majority would be from local people expressing local things. So, and the other thing that we are looking at, I would say that so far, Fayetteville Public Access Television has been essentially like a bingo ball. And the programs float around, and then we pull out the programs, and we've kept it very random. And I have, with Mr. Giesler's permission, begun working with our tech director to start shaping our programming to be more conducive like a television channel. In the morning you have yoga and exercise programs. In the afternoon you have educational programs. And in the evening we have entertainment and concert type stuff. That allows us to better market what the programming on the channel is to specific demographics, and also allows a person to tune in and actually kind of settle into a field rather than watching something that they're interested in and then seeing something completely different right after that, which we still do, as we should as a public access television station, but nonetheless we are taking more care to start to shape the nature of all of the programs. Everyone still gets the first come, first serve, and if they request time slots, we absolutely honor that. But with the things that are flexible, we are hoping to create a more enjoyable viewer experience for public access viewers. And then, when it comes to promotional activity, on page 5, the brochures that you all see in front of you, we did modify these. These were printed previously. We have lots and lots of these. And rather than going to the expense of reprinting them when we modify our hours, you'll notice on the back what we did was create a sticker that modified the hours on the pre-existing pamphlets. So we were able to utilize the resource without a great additional expense. And so I encourage each of you to take several of those, and if there's anyone that you know of, feel free to share this information. We're very proud of this pamphlet. It's comprehensive and really lets people know all the wonderful services we offer.
I noticed, Chairman, if I may, Flint was sticking these on every time I came in.
Mm-hmm.
Is that why he got ill for a few days?
No. I don't believe that was it. We've had a wonderful.
It's hardly noticeable that it's not
Right.
the original printing. That's very smart.
I'm so glad.
Some of the service learning students from the high school that work in the mayor's office did some of them as well.
Did some of them too?
Yeah.
Good.
They're not easy to get off on the corners.
No, they're a little challenge, but we're glad to be able to utilize the resource. And in that spirit, I would say, as far as promotional activity goes, at this point in April, I wanted to let you guys know that we are finding ways to trim the fat, as it were. We had some print advertising that we were doing previously that we had not seen quantifiable results from. So we eliminated that expense and have really focused our efforts into social media and the things that we are able to do with no expense. So far this year, we really have not tapped into the Fayetteville Public Access Television Trust Fund. We have been accumulating funds there, and Fritz and I have been strategizing as to how we would like to apply those funds for something that we feel like will really give us a quantifiable result. And part of that has been because we've also been eliminating things that did not prove useful. So I think that is definitely the goal of any government organization, is to find the most efficient way to utilize the resources that we have. And that has been our strategy for promotion, and it's been very exciting that it has resulted in such positive data. And then finally, as far as data goes, we're very excited to, I mentioned several months ago that we have built a database, a new database to log all of our information about our users and that sort of thing. And this month, now that we've finished the first quarter, we've begun compiling an annual database as well. That just gives us lots of great information that before was only in physical reports and had only been hand calculated. Now we have it in a Google Doc that is a database that does all of those numerical equations for us, so that it eliminates the human error element.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
These brochures, how are they getting out to the public?
We try to distribute them to places locally that allow for pamphlets to be distributed.
Could they go out one in each water bill, for example?
Oh wow. What the water bill thing was one that we did try. We purchased an ad to be attached to a water bill. That was one of the things that we just did not have anyone come in and say, I heard about you on my water bill. So that was one that we passed on this time. I think the places, places where lots of traffic occurs, just within a square area, and then those sort of things, and then people are personally distributing them as well. And we're also very excited to have the opportunity at the farmers market to distribute them. I think we'll get lots of great traffic there.
And let me add something there. The mayor's office, Dee Dee Peters, who's our community outreach coordinator and all, while your media is a contractor for the services, it's still a City of Fayetteville service. And so we want in any way that we as staff, whether you work for parks or transportation or otherwise, or in the mayor's office, to get the word out about the services that we have here. And I know Kit Williams, the city attorney, would also get it out, as well as the city clerk would let people know about the services that we have there. So like our water department here, so when people come in, whether to hook up or whether to pay a bill, if you'll look over on the wall, one of the brochures that we have is this up in front. When people come and pay their bill, we have it, have them up there, and they actually go pretty fast up there as well. We put in the quarterly newsletter for the city. I always put the plug, the one page, which is kind of like taking that brochure and then putting it into a one page to get it out in that way as well. The mayor, when he meets with people, I make sure that they leave with one in their hand. In fact, this week he met with a delegation from Ghana, and two were students up at the university working on programming. So I said, hey, you're here, you're residents while you're going to class here, and I talked to them about it and encouraged them to do it. So there are a variety of ways we work together to try to get it out.
I appreciate as a citizen, as a resident, that y'all are tracking the data, keeping track of the data. You're not going through the motions of trying to act like you're interested in getting your message out to Fayetteville. You're actually interested in getting your message out. And I just appreciate that you're paying attention to the data and seeing what's working and what's not, and trying to use the money that we trust to your media to do the best you can. And I truly believe that you are.
Thank you very much.
Is there an opportunity to distribute these at the Block Street party on Sunday?
I believe so. I'm sure we could network with someone to be able to have a spot to make that happen.
That seemed like a good audience,
Absolutely.
I'd also like to comment. I've seen several recent posts on Facebook from your media. Good stuff. So keep up the good work.
Thank you very much.
Are y'all going to be at Springfest too?
Yes, we're planning on having a presence there as well.
Have we ever considered reaching out to the high school students? Now, I know they've come to meetings, they've spoken, they're bright kids, but doing something, now this is just me, external relations and development's my world, but say we partner with KNWA, Public Access, KNWA, for like the best news program by a student. Like 2 or 3 categories: news, public interest, and it's got to be, the parameters need to be for the benefit of Fayetteville, so we actually can use whatever they produce on our channel. But to make them aware, or even more aware. You know, if it's monetary, if it's simply kids doing it for pride and for their college resume applications, but something that truly engages the kids with parameters that benefit the citizenry, so kind of everybody wins. But something like that. I mean, I don't know if it would take a lot of money. You know, we wouldn't have to give the kids a $1,000 prize. But you know, some type of project that would be beneficial, that could be recognized.
Absolutely.
Because something very targeted toward a 16-year-old or a 17-year-old. So that kid at 17 now understands that our technology may be just as good, or that we are the alternative to doing anything at Fayetteville High School, or if Fayetteville High School's studio is full, they're automatically coming over and they're rolling into classes with us at 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
Right. I'm very glad you brought that up. In June, your media will be hosting at the Television Center a kids camp.
Great. This is very good.
Specifically for that purpose.
Beautiful.
The last week, it'll be Monday through Thursday mornings. It'll be an all-morning session, and then in the afternoon, they'll have the opportunity to continue to work at the Television Center if they would like, but we will take them through an instructed week of learning about the Television Center. We will be able to handle 6 to 12 kids from ages 13 to 17. And so that is something that we will be able to offer. So your media will be offering that. There will be a small fee for that, but then we're also always, as a nonprofit, open to scholarships. So we are actively pursuing scholarships so that we would be able to allow kids to be able to come to this camp at no charge, if possible. So, and then also, I know the high school has just changed over their head of the television department. So they're going to have a new person coming in who I am very excited to network with. I have always been very excited about the relationship between the education channel and the public access channel. I've always felt like those should feed right into each other, that we should be seeing these young aspiring people coming right into our environment with our resources, which they enjoyed at the high school. They had the opportunity to utilize resources that were available to them, and they would be able to come right to us and continue that work, developing their demo reel for a future in media production. So absolutely, thank you very much for bringing that up. We're passionate about it.
We have a distribution point at the library, or is available at the Fayetteville?
Yes, these.
Maybe targeting the teen summer reading programs, as might be people who would be interested in also taking the production classes, right?
Absolutely.
Just a guess.
That's I think a great suggestion. I've been talking to David Johnson about the prospect of Fayetteville Public Access Television offering a workshop at the library. We would go there rather than asking people to come to the television center, and he was very receptive to that idea. So we would love to be able to do some cross promotion there as well. And we can tell them we're just right up the road.
The great auditorium's there.
Yeah.
Well, impressive results, so keep up the good work.
Thank you very much.
While we got him talking, let's ask him about his own showing of video at the Crystal Bridges this past week.
Thank you very much for bringing that up. It was great to have Mr. Shepard there. I was able to show, so I am in the process of producing a documentary film about local photographer Andrew Kilgore, which we have had in production for 2 years. But Fayetteville Public Library did come on as an official partner as of last month and purchased the film, completing the production budget. And so we will be producing it over the summer and we'll release it this fall. So we did have an opportunity on the 10th to show an abridged version. What I did was take some footage from it and kind of shape it into its own self-standing piece, where it was featured along with a film by Dale Carpenter and then a film by Sarah Moore Churchill, both university master's graduate and a university professor. And we had the opportunity to show 3 what we called Ozarkumentaries about Ozark artists doing what they do in Northwest Arkansas. So
our friend Mr. Kilgore was not able to be there. He's had some physical problem, but he would be clearly the youngest person by several years in those documentaries. So they were all wonderful.
it was an exciting evening and a wonderful opportunity to be able to share our films That was produced by Seedling Film Organization, which is a great local organization that's working to expose local filmmakers as much as possible. It does, from what we understand, we had a couple of Waltons in the audience, so it was a very exciting opportunity. And we had a Q&A afterwards where I was very happy to let them know that I was working at Fayetteville Public Access Television and that it was a resource that we were very proud of in Fayetteville. So, and we got a little bit of applause there. People realize that it is a gem of a resource and a very important part of First Amendment rights. So it was wonderful to be able to represent that at Crystal Bridges on the 10th.
Awesome.
Motion.
Anything else? All right. Any announcements? Motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Smith and second by Mr. Spearman. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Meeting is adjourned.